Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Aussie today? There are a couple of scenarios that could potentially play out, and there is a longer term play and a short term play. So let me just show you what I mean. And it's kind of a 50-50 day for me at the moment. So first things first. So if we're on the 4 hour right now, and you see the downward move, this Fibonacci retracement of this downward leg, you can see how we hit the 61.8 and we bounced off it. We then came through, broke through here to come and test this level. Okay, now this level of 51,200 area has been used as support and resistance in the past quite extensively. Okay, and it pretty much also lines up with the, not quite with the daily 200 moving average. I just want to put the daily 200 in there. So you can see how the daily 200 moving average, this purple line here, how flat it is. Okay. So those are the two levels that I'm looking at the moment. And you can see how the daily 200 moving average lines up with the 4 hour 200 moving average. The 1 hour is in pretty much the same area. And you see there, and I think the 30 and the 12 are all in the same area. Pretty close. Okay, so fairly significant level this at the bottom here. So all the 200-day moving average, all the 200 period moving averages are in this area from the 200, from the daily down. Okay, so the one scenario is that this series of higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high continues. So in other words, we keep the zigzagging motion to the upside and come and challenge the previous highs. Or we are going to bounce off this rejection here. So this rejection bar is quite significant as well, off a level, and we're going to move the downside. So move the downside would be pretty much something along the lines of that. So in other words, we move the downside. We've gone 1, 2, 3. So A, B, C correction. So that's normal in a correction leg. And then we'd move the downside. And that, if we put a level on that and just fine tune it, would line up to this previous low. Okay, so that's the view that we have on the 4 hour at the moment. Now, obviously, what we're looking for, I just want to get rid of, I had it. There we go. I just want to get rid of the noise. So let's delete that. In order for this to play out, we need a break in this trend line. Okay, so that's the one view that's there. So we do have a rejection bar and we did have a continuation on the 4 hour. So that is a fairly significant potential trend change pattern. Now, we're going to get down to the 30 minute. So the 30 minute, we had the downward move, and you can see moving averages pointing down and broke through, tested the moving average, and continued moving to the downside. We then consolidated, rounded off, and now we are moving to the upside. Now, on the lower time frames, we are in an uptrend. So price starts the lower bottom left corner of my screen, and it moves to the top right corner of my screen. Price is heading up, so we are in an uptrend. So what we want to do is just fine tune that, because this is clearly the level. If you look at how we played to this level here, this is clearly the level to watch for. The fact that we've got all the 200 moving averages in this area as well, there is a fairly significant level of support here. Okay, so from a short-term perspective, I'm looking for a move to the upside. Okay, now I'll show you what I mean here. Just use that. So we have continuation diversions here. So in other words, price made a low, then it's busy with a higher low, whereas the indicator made wasn't there. Let's just line it up. Okay, so if we go pretty much in this area here, if we take it from this pin bar here, you can see how the oscillator made a low, but when this was a higher low, it made a lower low. And this is an indication of continuation divergence to the upside. However, if we come to the 4 hour, you'll see the complete opposite here. So, well, I can actually use the line that we've got in here. So if we take that as the previous high, you can see the indicator made a high with it. Then we made a lower high, and the indicator made a higher high. Now, that is continuation divergence to the downside. Okay, so you see what I mean by multiple scenarios that could potentially play out. So depending which time frame you're playing, you could see different things. So for me today, it's really about the 6 and 12 minutes charts in the open. And what I'm looking for, I just want to pinpoint this. So if you have a look here, again, we're on the Fibonacci. So this leg to the upside, we bounced off a level, and you can see we came down to 61.8 before forming a base and moving to the upside. So if we take that as the potential scenario that could play out, what we're looking for is a retest of the 50 or the 61.8. So in other words, what I'm looking for is pretty much something in this area here. Okay, so if I use the lines, take that one, I can delete that one, let's put another one in over there. Okay. Right, so what are we talking about here? So basically, the 50% Fibonacci will line up with this trend line, okay? And bear in mind, on the lower time frames, the trend is up, and I also have some indication that this is going to move to the upside. So the higher time frame, we do have a divergence to the downside, but again, divergence is not something that you want to trade on its own. You want confirmation before you trade it. Now we have hit the significant level here, and we have bounced off it, but I would expect a second attempt at this level. Okay, and I'd expect that second attempt to fail. So in other words, we create either a double top or a lower high, and then we move to the downside. That would give me confidence that this longer term play will play out. So for now, we are on the short term, and the short term is up. So I'm looking for longs in this area. So this is 51,700 to 51,800 is pretty much the zone I'm looking for. If I get any sort of bullish price action in this area, so in other words, inside bars, engulfing bars, pin bars, anything like that in this area, I will definitely be looking for a long and pretty much 150 point stop loss. Okay, there is another gap to the downside here. See there? There's a gap, and there's a gap over here. So there are gaps lower down, which could also act as magnets. So I'm afraid it's kind of a day of pick your poison. Are you trading a 4 hour, or are you trading a lower time frames? For me, it's really the lower time frames, and if you watch the 6 minute, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so if we do stay below pretty much this level here, so if we stay below this level and we start breaking below that area there, 5,900, you've got a short play to this area before you start looking for a long. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for, and I'm going to let's just close off this scenario with a look of the closing range strategy. So first things first, the closing range strategy for yesterday definitely worked out. We gapped up above the range, came back and tested the 32.8, and we sort of hit the breakout target as well as the second target. Okay, so that played out fairly significantly. Okay, now a break below, you see the breakout target lines up in this zone as well. Just delete this one. We can see what's going on. Okay, so you see a closing range breakout would definitely target this area here, possibly even the gap close, which would be target number 2. Okay, so that's kind of my take on things for this morning on the Aussie. Everything is going to hinge on price action, so you're going to need to be very smart about how you take the trade, because there is potential for both sides at the moment. So I'm going to stick with the trend at the moment, and the current trend on the low time frame is up. So we're going to focus on that. And one other thing that I want to just point out is the 4-hour is pretty much in a very broad range at the moment. So there's really no direction here at all. Okay, and you can see how we are trending up, we break, and then we break, and then we go test the break, and then we come down. So there's no real direction on the longer time frame. So that's why I'm sticking to sort of the 12 6-minute time frames to get my entries and take your profit as often as you can. Okay, guys, so that's kind of my take on it. Just watch out for that area there. So you're looking for 5,700 to 5,800, any bullish action in that area. There should be a long, and your target is at least a retest of this level where we bounced, or potentially a break of that level. If you get a break of that level, then you have a measured move to the upside. That would look, let's say we do bounce to that area. And if I look to the left, you'll see it lines up quite nicely with some previous resistance. Okay, so that's kind of the play. And sorry, I just spotted something else. I was trying to close this off quickly, and I just spotted something else. So this level that we have tested, so which is fairly significant, that we bounced off yesterday. So let's use that there. So we bounced off that level there. But more importantly, cup, handle, breakthrough, retest. Okay, so long as this level of 52.50 holds, we do have the potential for a cup and handle. And a cup and handle is going to be massive. It's 1,500 points. So yeah, I think rather just stay down at the lower time frames and trade what you see here. Anyway, guys, I hope that helps, and let's see which scenario plays out this morning. Anyway, keep those stops tight, stay safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Enjoy the day. Cheers, man.